you get your Etsy account back with an Etsy lawyer. Hey everybody, my name is Marcella Dominguez. I'm an online business lawyer helping you with your online and offline business needs. You have gotten your Etsy account suspended and you want to know whether hiring an Etsy lawyer
will guarantee an Etsy reinstatement.
I'm going to cover the top 3 reasons why I think having an Etsy lawyer will help. Number 1, having someone who specializes in Etsy issues means that you get somebody who's dealing with Etsy issues on a day in and day out basis. They are looking at everyone's reasons for suspension. They understand how Etsy works, and that lawyer has possibly been an Etsy lawyer themselves. I'm raising my hand here because I once was an Etsy seller. So when you have somebody who has been in your shoes, they are capable of understanding the inside workings of selling on the Etsy platform. An Etsy lawyer who has not actually been an Etsy seller might not quite understand how to respond to Etsy within the Etsy platform. You know, what buttons to push, click the appeal button, submit the contact form. They might not understand how the listings actually work. They might not understand how to communicate with other sellers on the platform. There are little things that are better understood by somebody who has had practice and experience on the platform themselves. Is it your preference to hire somebody that might have been in your shoes in the past? Well, I would think so. I would feel more comfort in finding somebody who understands my situation because they have been there before. So ask yourself, has your Etsy lawyer also been an Etsy seller? Ask yourself whether you think it's important that your Etsy lawyer was once an Etsy seller. Do you identify with a lawyer who was once an Etsy seller? If so, you might consider contacting us because it is free to send us an email. I'd be more than happy to help you if you want somebody who has listened to multiple sellers voicing concerns over the reasons their account might have been suspended. Because not every case is the same, right? I mean, one case might have gotten suspended for an intellectual property violation, while in another case, they might have gotten suspended because they opened a second account that was linked to a first suspended account. Somebody else might have gotten suspended or removed because they were selling items that were not handmade. But if you want to understand other reasons why people might have gotten suspended on the Etsy platform, make sure to check out that video right there where I go into more detail and might help you figure out why your account was suspended. But if you want a customized and personalized approach and possible solution, then make sure to send me an email down below. Number 2, does having an Etsy lawyer guarantee that you are going to get your account back? And I know this might not be the news that you want to hear, but no, because when you hire a lawyer, you are paying for representation. You are not paying for a guaranteed result. And on top of that, it would be against the rules for any lawyer to guarantee any kind of results, whether it be on Etsy or in an actual court of law or in any proceeding or court representation for that matter. So if a lawyer is guaranteeing that you're going to get a specific result, and in this case, guarantee an Etsy reinstatement, then please tell me in the comments below who that lawyer is, or tell us who this magician is, because there's probably a lot of Etsy sellers that want to know. So what is the whole point of hiring an Etsy lawyer? Well, in any situation, whether it's Etsy or not, like I said, you are paying for representation. So somebody who knows the law a little bit better than you, somebody who understands your facts, who understands the story that you've told them or the facts that you've told them, and is able to apply the law to your set of facts and basically present a case that shows why you deserve to be reinstated, or why you don't deserve to be punished, or why you didn't do anything wrong, is really what you need and is really what you're paying for when you pay for representation. So you might think, well, that's something that I could do myself. Well, there is a specific way in which we analyze the rules and a specific way in which we apply those rules to your set of facts. And that probably isn't the way that you'd make your best case to Etsy. You probably would not be making your case or pitching your appeal in the same way that a lawyer would. So what is the advantage of hiring a lawyer? Like I said, they are able to represent you by understanding your fact pattern and applying the set of rules to your fact pattern and making a case for why you didn't deserve to get kicked off the platform, or why you didn't do anything wrong, or possibly saying that you accept responsibility for what you may have done wrong, but this doesn't necessarily break the rules or any terms that are listed on Etsy's website. Number 3 is hiring an Etsy lawyer your last resort. Many of you who have contacted me, sent me messages, or set up consultations have already tried to reinstate your account on your own accord. So you might have already submitted an appeal, you might have tried to contact Etsy already and have been unsuccessful. So for many of you, hiring an Etsy lawyer like me might be your last resort before giving up on your Etsy account. So does that mean that because this is a last resort option that luck is in your favor, or does it mean that we know the Etsy platform so entirely well and the lawyers at Etsy that we are going to be able to convince them that you deserve a second, third, fourth, fifth chance? No, the reality is that sometimes Etsy doesn't even want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from people on the other side, like you, the Etsy seller. They have made their decision and they have made it very clear that they don't want you back. Now, is the communication very effective? In other words, have you been able to understand the exact reasons for why you're not allowed back on the platform? Do you even understand why your account was suspended or why you got kicked off the platform? And many times, no. Lots of you are still left with the big question as to why you can't go back on there and sell. You have corrected the issues. Maybe you've changed some details in your listing. Maybe you've come to a compromise with somebody who reported you for intellectual property infringement. Maybe you've removed listings that are no longer handmade, and all you need is a second, third, fourth, fifth try. But Etsy won't even communicate with you. Does that mean that having an Etsy lawyer is going to guarantee even any kind of communication as to why your account was suspended or whether you are going to get that second, third, fourth, fifth chance? And my answer is no. Unfortunately, there have been instances where Etsy has even left me in the dark when I am representing Etsy sellers, and I'm not going to say that that's been the case in every single instance, but it has been the case many, many times over. Is it unprofessional? Is it unwise? Is it driving potential sellers away? Yes, I think that would-be sellers are catching wind of what is going on with Etsy, and they're basically turning their attention to another platform that might be more advantageous for a seller. But for those of you that are stuck in this position already of needing to get your account back, I do want you to recognize that you're setting up a consultation with me because this is your last resort. You don't know what to do, and really you just want to give it one last ditch effort. Now listen, as I said in number 1, an Etsy lawyer who was once in your shoes is going to understand this completely. I was once an Etsy seller, and what I wouldn't try to do to try and get my Etsy account back. And this was a couple of years ago when I was selling. And lately it seems like it's just gotten much, much worse. I want you to be aware of what you are up against. I want to be completely transparent. I don't want you to believe that hiring a lawyer is the key to unlocking your second, third, fourth, fifth opportunity. I want you to understand that the opportunity is there, the opportunity does exist, but nonetheless, it is an uphill battle. So for those of you that still want to talk to me about your situation because you just want to hear somebody's opinion like mine, who is listening to Etsy sellers on a very consistent basis, voice their stories about what's happened to them and the reasons for their suspension and what has happened after that, I am very capable at deducing what is going on here and what is likely to happen in your own fact pattern, in your scenario. And so if there's anything that I can do to help you, please make sure to schedule a consultation down below. I don't want you to think that this is going to guarantee any sort of results, but I also want you to keep pushing until the end, until you know you've done absolutely everything you possibly could to try and get your account reinstated. So just to recap, number 1, you want somebody who's listening to these Etsy fact patterns on a very consistent basis, like I have, with sellers vocalizing their most pressing concerns about what they have been through. Number 2, you want somebody who's going to be transparent and not somebody who's going to tell you that they're going to guarantee your reinstatement, because that is simply not true and it is also against the rules. And number 3, I want you to feel like you've done absolutely everything you can to try and get your Etsy account back. Because after all, you've probably put in a lot of time, money, and effort into growing that store. Perhaps, so I understand the feeling of wanting to get that account back and the desperation, and perhaps you have employees relying on you. But I am completely transparent in this process, And that is what is most important to me. I am willing to help you as long as you are aware and accepting of everything I've just mentioned. So again, my email is listed down below. Please send me a message if you think that I can help you in some way with your Etsy account, but please don't forget to check out that video right there to see if you identify with any of the reasons for why you could have possibly been suspended.